Hey Mama, thanks for joining in as we talk about heart-to-heart connections. As we discover heart-to-heart connections and meaningful relationships through the small and simple things. Realizing that you make a difference and that you matter through intentionally increasing love. I am excited to have you. Thanks for joining. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life, and I can help you. Thanks for joining. Hey Mama, how's it going? Last weekend I was dealing with a lot of overwhelm. I had to teach a class for my homeschool group. I had to teach a class for a Relief Society class that I got asked to teach at, and I had to teach the same class 3 times for that one. And then I also had to teach Relief Society on Sunday. Now, I love teaching. If you've listened to my podcast, I really enjoy sharing what I've learned. And I still do, but that was definitely a lot. And I felt the overwhelm of trying to do all that. And on top of that, with my new candle business, it was a lot. And I think the hard thing with the candle business is the labels were giving me a headache. I'm hoping to get on top of that by today with using a different printer, but hopefully that problem will solve. But I was dealing with overwhelm, and I had challenged you, if you were dealing with overwhelm, or for when you do deal with overwhelm, 6 steps. And I wanted to kind of update you that I did 2 of those steps. I went for a walk and I went outside and got fresh air, and it did make a difference. These little things that we can implement into our motherhood and into our lives do make a difference. And I just really wanted to share that with you because it really did make a significant difference. Today, I actually want to share one of the lessons that I gave over the weekend, and it was about heart-to-heart connection and relationships. And as I go throughout this little presentation thing that I prepared, I want you to think of one area that you want to improve in. This talk is all about small and simple things. But if you try and do something in all the areas, that is not small and simple. That is overwhelming and daunting and will feel like too much and too heavy. So as you listen, just pay attention to what area resonates with you and what area you feel that you really probably needs the most improvement first, and that will be the area that you start doing a small and simple thing. Alma 37:6 says, "Now ye may suppose that it is foolishness in me, but behold, I say unto you, that by small and simple things are great things brought to pass. And small means in many instances doth confound the wise." Small and simple things will bring great things to pass in your relationships. The first and probably the most vital relationship in which we desire to have heart-to-heart connection is our relationship with God. Deuteronomy 6:5 says, "And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might." Further on it says, "If we do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, it will be well with us." But how do we do this? How do we love the Lord our God that much and strengthen our relationship with Him? The scriptures are the best place to start. But to complement the scriptures, the most simple and doable things that has really helped me grow closer to God has been to choose to find gratitude. As I have intentionally tried to shift this perspective over the last 5 or so years, it has really enlightened me to how much the Lord has blessed me versus always noting where my life is seeming to lack. How do you choose to find gratitude, or how do you find gratitude? The answer is in the question. You choose to look for it. You begin intentionally noting it in your mind. For me, I try to, at the end of the day, come up with 5 things that I am grateful for from that day. Some nights it is very simple, like I'm grateful for my kids' bedtime. I am grateful for my pillows. I'm grateful for my blanket. I am thankful for my family, and I am thankful for sleep. Other nights, I really let my mind wander through the day's events with great detail. I am grateful for the beautiful sunshine that actually felt warm and that was shining on that fat robin that has been hanging and chirping around in our tree. Or, I am grateful for my little 5-year-old deciding on her own that she wanted to go out and shovel rocks out of the grass that got left there by the snowplows. As you begin to train yourself to look for what you are grateful for, it will shift your mindset and draw you closer to God, deepening your relationship with Him because you are in awe of how much He has done for you and how much He has blessed you with. It is powerful. The next relationship that is vital, in my opinion, to have meaningful and heart-to-heart connection is in marriage. At this point in the talk, I said if you're not currently married, I encourage you to have an open mind and think about the marriage you would desire. I imagine most of my podcast audience are married mothers because that's who my audience is. But just in case, I'll add that in here as well. I know that in my stake, there are women who are not currently married or have not yet been married. And so I felt to include that. Anyway, aside from that, in Doctrine and Covenants 25:14, it says, "Continue in the spirit of meekness, and beware of pride. Let thy soul delight in thy husband, and the glory which shall come upon him." Is your husband a delight unto you? I have had moments where he has been a delight, and some moments, maybe not as much. But haven't we all? Before I got into mindset work and positivity, I was pretty subject to what my subconscious felt in marriage, and it wasn't always good. But since, thankfully, I have learned that love is a choice. Love is a choice. Love is a choice. Loving or not loving our husband is a choice. Our husbands are human, just like us. So they're not going to be perfect or do everything we would like in the way that we would want them. Instead of letting those things divide us, we have to intentionally choose our husband. If you have listened to this podcast, you know that I recently read the 5 Love Languages book. It was so eye-opening in helping me realize that love is a choice. I would highly recommend it if you haven't read it. Gary Chapman says, "Once the experience of falling in love has run its natural course, we will return to the world of reality and begin to assert ourselves. He will express his desires, but they will be different from hers. He dreams of buying a new car, but she flatly says, we can't afford it. She would like to visit her parents, but he says, I don't like spending so much time with your family. Little by little, the illusion of intimacy evaporates, and the individual desires, emotions, thoughts, and behavior patterns assert themselves. They are 2 individuals." End quote. And that is what we want to prevent, is that division. Small and simple things can bring great things to pass, but they can also divide and draw us apart if we're not conscious and intentional in our marital endeavors. How can we strengthen our marriage? It's by the simple things. I'm going to give you some examples, but you will likely notice or have thoughts come to you of what little thing you are needing to implement to strengthen your marriage relationship. Little things that help my marriage are holding hands or touching when we are in the car, sincerely looking at him when he is talking to me and not being distracted by my phone or even the kids. Randomly surprising him with a tight embrace or greeting him with a kiss. Being together in the evenings. I found a couple years ago that we fell into the habit of doing our own thing in the evening. He would watch a show or stuff on his phone, and I would read or look at my phone in my room, and we often did this in separate places, him in the front room, me in the bedroom. I found that even just relocating myself and sitting next to him, touching, even if we were on our phones, was still helping to build and strengthen our marriage and our connection one to another. Did this require some sacrifice? Yes. I had to give up some time reading in my room to sit by him, to be with him, and maybe even watch a show with him. So will these small things require sacrifice? Yes, but it will build and strengthen instead of break. Your marriage is worth that little thing that you know you need to implement. There are actually 2 more areas that I talk about in this talk. But because of time, I am going to save those 2 areas for next week and ask you to come to next Friday's episode to continue on the next 2 relationships that we can strengthen to have better heart-to-heart connection. They are powerful as well. So come and join next week for those 2 episodes, and this week maybe pick one of those relationships to work on and develop. Maybe it's your relationship with God and choosing to find gratitude. Or maybe it's your relationship with your husband and choosing one small thing to get better at and improving that relationship with him. Where I live in the north, we have had a fairly long winter. It is... when is it? Mid-April at the time of this recording, maybe more towards the end of April actually at the time of this recording, and I still have some snow outside. But spring and summer are coming, and if you want to fill your home with the aroma of some sense of summer, I encourage you to look at the link in the show notes for my new candle company that I have acquired from my sister. I want to tell you some of our most popular summer scents and a couple of food scents that our candle company is getting to be pretty well known for, or they have been well known for. So the summer scents are Beach Bum, Volcano, Citrus Paradise, and Wild Berry Cheesecake. And for the food ones that I said were getting pretty popular, those are Peach Rings and Fruity Pebbles. And they really do smell like peach rings and fruity pebbles. If you enjoy those smells, I encourage you to check out the link to our eco-friendly soy wax melts and candles. Thank you as always for listening. Thank you for sharing. But most of all, thank you for implementing what you've learned into your own life to find more positivity in your motherhood. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight, and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.